Hello, everyone. This is Tea and Brie podcast with Connor and Amelia. This is what we call the New Year's resolution podcast. This will be the first one that we're releasing. So the topic we decided to start with was the Stranger Things finale because that came out on New Year's Day. We've just finished watching. Well, not just finished. It was about 18 hours ago we watched it, and we've had a bit of time to digest it. And we decided the best first topic we could talk about is that because it's the first thing we did in the new year. I think we have quite differing opinions on this, don't we? So
We definitely do.
yeah, I think this will be quite an interesting one because I liked it. I accepted it had its flaws and everything. And I think any points you've made about it so far are valid, but I don't know. I can't deny I sat there enjoying it for the full 2 hours. Like I wasn't not enjoying it.
I think there was parts for me where I was watching it and I was like, why am I watching this? You know, I stayed up to hear my 5 a.m. alarm that was telling me to wake up for work. Fortunately, I had today off.
Mm.
And I was watching it and I was like, what am I watching? Compared to the first few seasons of Stranger Things, there's literally no
I have a question for
comparison.
you then.
Okay.
When in your opinion was Stranger Things peak?
Stranger Things peaked. I think it's difficult because season 3 probably stopped the peak. So like season 2 probably peaked and then season 3 dropped and then it peaked again at season 4.
Yeah, I thought that. Season 3 was my favourite as a kid because it was the most like vibrant and like probably had the most comedy in it.
I quite
Now
like
I
season
think
3, the
about it.
character development, but obviously there wasn't much
Very
excitement.
coming of age, isn't it?
Yeah, there wasn't
Yeah.
much excitement in season 3, but I think we were the perfect age to be watching season 3.
Yeah, it came out at the right time for us,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah, because we would have been
Excuse me. We were 12, I'm pretty sure.
I feel like we would have been a bit older, 14.
Nah, 6 years since the last
Season 3.
Season 3, yeah.
Wow, yeah.
We
so
would have been about
12.
11 or 12, yeah.
But that's the perfect age to enjoy
age.
like a coming of age kind of storyline compared
Yeah.
to the more dark stuff that we're seeing in the.
And they got to 1985, hadn't they? And that's when the 80s became the 80s as we see it in pop culture.
I definitely like the costume choices for season 3. It was
Yeah.
very vibrant, and I just thought it was quite cringe because obviously in season 3 that's when Elle loses her powers.
Yeah.
So, or just that one scene where she goes roller skating with everybody and she tries to use her powers and it doesn't work.
That's season 4, isn't it?
Is that season 4?
That's season 4, yeah. I know which one you're on about.
Oh,
That's season 4.
that was a hiding under the covers situation for me.
No, yeah, I know. Like it was a second-hand embarrassment sort of thing, wasn't it?
Oh, 100%. I don't even.
I struggled with that, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, season 3 had a lot on its shoulders, really, didn't it? Because if you think about it, the show could have ended at season 2, and there might have been a few loose threads, but like that scene where they, with every breath you take and everything, and like Mike and Eleven get together, Joyce and Hopper suggest that they have feelings for each other, like the gate's been closed. That could have been the end of the show if it hadn't been so popular and they hadn't picked it up for a third season.
I definitely I think it is good that they did pick it up again because obviously there was still a lot to cover, you know, with Vecna and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it would have been an unsatisfying ending if they ended it there.
Yeah.
But they definitely needed season 3. I don't think people like season 3 as much because there wasn't much excitement, there wasn't much, you know, battles and whatever. But I feel like we definitely needed season 3 to realise that they were just teenagers.
It was like the palate cleanser, wasn't it? Because we got like these 2 like blockbuster seasons after that.
Yeah.
We couldn't go straight from like the sort of small town rustic seasons to that. We needed something in the middle that was a bit different.
Yeah, for sure. And with season 5, it was quite dark, I'd like to say, especially compared to season 3. But it's been a dark show since the beginning.
Big tone shift, yeah. Yeah, because they needed a little bit of filler. I think a lot of people complain. A lot of it is just like kids being kids, but
that's what makes the show, though.
I think that I'm glad we didn't lose that.
I think we lost that in season 5.
Yeah, I
think
agree.
That's why I'm not enjoying it as much because in season 5 we don't really see them as kids. We see, you know, them in action constantly. There's no break to see them just being friends. The small break we do get is when they go to, they go to that like bench in a wooded area and they start high-fiving and then straight after that Will starts like having things from Vecna and
the attention's not on him for 1 second. I know
it's like Harry Potter.
How does he make this about him?
Yeah.
I liked Will's character growth was the best part of this season, I thought. Seeing like the confident Will.
A lot of people didn't like that Will was the main character in this one, but I thought it was the right course of action.
He'd been sidelined for quite a while.
Like, especially considering, you know, the amount of screen time he got in season 1, he was a massive part of season 1, and the amount of screen time was little to none.
He had like 3 scenes in season 1 because he was missing for the entire thing.
Yeah.
But like, he's the crutch of the whole story, isn't it? And
100%.
It's only natural that it ends with him.
Even in season 1, I don't really see Elle as the main character.
No, I see it as Mike.
Honestly, Nancy was quite a prominent figure in the season.
Nancy was she was like the leading character in the teenage storyline, I think. Actually, I don't know. It definitely wasn't Steve, was it? I think Steve is like the leader of the teenagers now, but it wasn't always the case. In fact, we watched the first episode for a little nostalgia trip there, for you to prove that the show went down in quality.
It did go down in quality.
Yeah, she got me watching the first episode to try and prove a point that like this doesn't compare to season 5.
You saw how the Upside Down just looked beautiful in season 1. It looked so scary. You know, you got goosebumps watching it, and then in season 5, you're like
like ledgering about in there.
They may as well have just gone to a dusty Tesco's. I know it'd have been the same.
What I was going to say is like Joe Keery, he was like one of the supporting cast. He wasn't even in the main credits at that point. And like Natalia Dyer, she was like in the teen storyline. She was the sort of leader. She was the one you followed the most.
Well, it's especially in season 1, I didn't even see Steve being a character that stuck around.
No, me neither. Actually, it's the best character growth of the whole show.
100%. Same as well, not same as, but in season 1, I could have compared him to, you know, like Bob. In season 2, you know, I knew he wouldn't stick around, but I did quite like him. But then Steve did stick around, and now he's such an amazing character.
I think that's why people like him, because he didn't have to stay that long. He could have.
No, he didn't.
He doesn't have family ties to it, does he?
He was brilliant in season 3. I think
that's
Steve
prime
season 3.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So he doesn't have. It's not like Jonathan, where, you know, his brother's connected and his mum's connected to it. Also, he has to be part of it. Really, he can't really walk away from it because his brother. Went missing because of it. His brother's still affected by it.
Everybody else has ties into why they would stay.
Yeah.
Whereas Steve joins. Steve joins even like because he finds out when he goes to Jonathan's home.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I think he had the most realistic reaction to all that was going on as well.
Yeah, he was like the human reaction to that, wasn't he? He was like the one we could sort of resonate with in a way.
Well, that's the problem I had with season 5 is all these characters were getting introduced, you know, to this magical, you know, horrifying world. You had Vicky, who got introduced to this Upside Down. You had the science teacher who got introduced to the Upside Down.
Yeah.
And they barely even react. There was like
Vicky was a bit confused. She was saying Robin was on drugs, wasn't she?
She was, but when she found out she wasn't on drugs, she was just like, oh, I guess you're not on drugs.
She settled into it quite quick, I'll give you that.
And I just feel like that's not realistic.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Steve in season 1, when he finds out about all this demagogue and malarkey, you know, he's obviously like he's shocked, and it shows. And I felt like that felt like a realistic reaction compared to the season 5.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because he could walk away at any time. He could go and live his normal life, and like there's nothing tying him down in the way there is Joyce, Jonathan, or the Wheelers, or anything like that. Because, like, you know, Will's Mike's best friend. He's not going to leave him. And, like, I think it's only the fact that Steve cares about these people that he stays. There's nothing like tying him to it. There's no
I
string.
feel like because when you're watching the season 1, when you see, you know, Dustin complaining about Steve, like the growth of them two becoming friends, I feel that it makes you. Like, you realise how...
Because there's some who prefer Dustin and Eddie, but I actually prefer Dustin and Steve.
I'm not really that bothered about either. Well, obviously, I'm very bothered about both. But, like, I don't think one is better than the other. I think they were good in their own ways.
I think Dustin and Steve is actually more nuanced.
I feel like we get more attached to Dustin and Steve because we see them go from absolute complete strangers to best friends.
Yeah, it was off screen, the whole Dustin and Eddie thing. I think if you'd seen it happen over
exactly.
time, yeah, you're right there.
So I think that's why you have the more attachment. That's why I'm saying they're both good friendships in their own way.
Yeah.
And then Steve and Dustin, we just get more attached to them because we see them become friends.
Yeah.
Which I think is why season 5 was such a letdown, because we've become so attached to these characters now that it's kind of it was kind of strange, the writing. Like, Elle, you become so attached to her, especially in season 3. I feel like she was a very prominent character in season 3. And you get to know her really, really well. And you get to see her as a teenager, you know, in season 2 with Hopper when she gets upset and explodes the whole house. And then in this season, she was kind of bland. She didn't really...
She's a bit unseasoned, wasn't she?
Yeah, her hair was always perfect. That was something that shocked me in this episode that came out today, the last one. You know, she'd go through, like, she'd be in a salt bath, and then she'd be grabbing her head because of the noise that cripples her and Callie. And then it doesn't even matter. Her hair's just absolutely perfect, and I feel like that
that's true. Yeah,
it took me out of the immersion because she was just always on fleek.
She was like mewing in this season, wasn't she?
I know a lot of people say it's because of a lip filler, and I'm not really that bothered by it. I don't think lip filler really. You know, if you get Botox in your forehead and stuff, you're going to be expressionless. But I don't think the Botox, the lip filler was the problem.
I never thought of her as like a glamorous character is the only thing. But I feel like they glammed her up a little bit in this.
It was the hair for me, because the hair for Elle throughout the whole entire series was such a massive thing that showed the development of her character. Obviously, when we first meet her, she's bald, and then she grows her hair out, and it keeps getting longer and longer, and she keeps styling it differently as she's finding herself. And then in this last season, she's just got it slicked back, and it's like, why is this hair being so important throughout all the seasons just for you to slick it back and make her look bald again in the last season?
Do you think it was the fact that she was revisiting Vecna? This is a bit of a whim here, hear me out. She was going to revisit her past, but this time it was a conscious choice.
I feel like if they were trying to make it a conscious choice, then I feel like her hair being messed up as she goes through stuff would be more symbolic than keeping it pristine. It just made her look like she'd been an actor put on a set, which is obviously what it is at the end of the day, but you don't want to feel like that when you're watching something.
She could have had more to do, I think. I think she did have a lot to do, but there wasn't emotion behind it. Like, you didn't see her feelings around it.
No.
Whereas other series, she was, like, upset and things like that. She seemed very, like, stone-faced.
She was very stone-faced. She barely had... She's nothing against Millie Bobby Brown, really, because I think it's less the acting in this season that I'm upset about, and more the writing of the script. I just don't think the script is as friendly as it used to be.
It's like the bully scenes... my opinion's coming off quite negatively here. I did like the new series, but them scenes in the first episode where they approached the bullies, that was another one like that. That one in season 4 where the powers don't work. Like, my head was just getting buried.
Well,
it wasn't even the acting; it was the writing that was like corny. Like, you cannot deliver that line and make it cool.
I feel like it was funny and kind of relatable bullies in the first season because they're young,
and they are actually like, you know, they make comments bullies would actually make. They don't like glamorize it, do they? Like they're making like racist comments to Lucas. They make homophobic.
I do like that they didn't really censor stuff.
Yeah, it felt much more uncensored, didn't it?
Well, this season 5, I feel like it felt quite censored. I feel like they were trying to appease to a lot of people. Obviously, they left a
bit more clean and saturated.
They left a long time between season 4 and season 5, and I feel like so many people developed their own opinions within that time that you know, it became impossible.
Then again, so was series 3 in a way. Like that departed from the like rustic 80s like small town feel big time. Like it was really like with the mall and stuff, very like vibrant, wasn't it? And like it felt a little bit more like a small it felt less like it was this like small town that no one had ever heard of, because like it had these attractions to it and stuff, like the big mall and everything, and like it had like a politician involved in it and stuff, and like I don't know, it made Hawkins feel bigger in this 3rd season, which I think was...
Do you think it was intentional?
It was probably intentional, yeah, because they knew the story was going to get bigger.
Well, I think my problem with season 5 mainly is because everything in the past seasons, apart from Callie randomly turning up in episode 7, season 2, everything else has felt very intentional. Like it felt like there was a point to what they were doing. Whereas in this season 5, you know, do stuff, and I don't know why they're doing it or what they're doing it for. And then the end of season 4, you know, when you see everything go up in flames, you're expecting season 5 to start with, you know, everybody finding out about the upside down and it being this whole massive thing, and you want to continue straight after they're looking at this fire. But instead they have this really, really weird 18 months, I think it is.
I feel like they wish they could have filmed them back to back. I feel like that's what they wish they could have done.
I don't know why they didn't, like, try. Not back to back, but I mean, try to make it continuous.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's the first show to try that. You know, Ginny and Georgia, they came back years later where this 9-year-old is now 14 and they just continued on with the same scene.
Yeah, like with Friends where Matthew Perry's lost about 50 stone and they're like, they film an episode like it's on the same day.
Yeah, exactly. You know, people aren't going to be that bothered about it. I feel like people are way more bothered about this random time skip that seemed to not fit in.
I need to clarify there. I said 50 stone. I meant 50 pounds. I am aware of that mistake I've just made. And also, we need a spoiler warning.
I'm sure
about that.
I'm sure they listened at the start and realised we were going to talk about the episode.
To be fair, not to insult our audience, but I hope you know that there were spoilers going into this.
Yeah.
Sorry if not. Though if you didn't realise why you're still listening.
If we've got this far in, Connor, they've probably realised.
Yeah, they're in a bit too deep now.
Yeah.
I'd say just listen. We'll give you the run through of the episode. Don't bother watching it.
Yeah, we haven't actually.
Amelia would say don't bother watching it.
Oh, I would say that. I thought it was rubbish.
You thought? I didn't think it was that bad. The final episode, especially, I didn't think it was too bad.
The proposal between Hopper and Joyce was absolutely
I loved that. That was the best part of the epilogue, I think.
I really, really enjoyed that, and it felt in place. Like it felt like that could have happened in season 3, and I wouldn't have blinked.
Yeah,
but everything.
It was a big payoff because like they've been talking about like dating and stuff for a long time, and I was hoping we'd get a bit more of Hopper and Joyce being like coupley, and I feel like that's something we got a bit like deprived of. Like
I think we got deprived of a lot.
Like there wasn't any chemistry. They have chemistry, the two actors, but. Again, writing, there was nothing.
This is what I feel like it was missing. Like it was missing that connection between the characters.
I agree.
You know, since the beginning, this show has been about, you know, a best friend going missing. So obviously there's a lot of care shown there, and you know, Joyce cares that her son's gone missing. Whereas in this season, you know, nobody seems that worried about each other.
I thought the whole town would be in on it at this point as well. Mm-hmm. Like, they could not cover that up as an earthquake.
I know, I can't believe people just, like, the whole military came and shut down half the town, and they're like, yeah, earthquake.
Yeah.
It happens.
I think that was daft.
It was.
That was the main letdown of this season. I think what they needed to do...
that was the main letdown?
Yeah, because I feel like the concept of, like, an apocalypse-type Hawkins would have just made the story better.
Well, there was the apocalyptic aspect in like that people weren't allowed to leave Hawkins, which I thought was quite cool when you know, they were getting deliveries of supplies through
Murray.
Truck. Yeah, I thought that was a good plot line. But
yeah, that was good.
It just like, for example, in the last episode where they're deciding who's going to be bait for the hive mind. Yeah. You know, Nancy volunteers, and there's a bit of tiny weeny little bit of resistance, but there was no like, you know, we love you, Nancy, be safe, blah blah blah. You know, the characters, they showed more care through their actions, but they've always been quite vocal to each other.
And don't get me started on Joyce and Jonathan. There's like, have they even spoken the last 2 seasons?
I don't even think they have, you know, because she cares so much about Will. She's like, no, Will, you can't go into the upside down. You can't do this with Vecna. But Jonathan,
I think that's the one time they spoke is when she suggested Jonathan go and risk his life instead of Will.
I know. I mean, I can kind of understand it because from a mother's perspective, she's already almost lost Will. So obviously she's going to have that extra protection, like mentally over Will. But at the same time, you know, Jonathan's still your son. And if I watched that, let's say I watched season 5, never watched the other seasons, I would not have guessed that Jonathan was Joyce's child.
No, there's no that you forget, don't you?
Yeah.
You forget him and Will are brothers as well because they don't talk anymore.
I feel like a lot of people have complained about everybody's acting in one way, shape or form. But I genuinely don't think any of the acting was the problem. I think it was all the script.
I think it got a bit too stuffed when the Byers family stopped having scenes together because they were always like preoccupied with other characters.
Yeah, for sure. Like just the scenes fell off. You know, when the friends were talking, they didn't really sound like friends. You know, Dustin had been grieving Eddie's death for 18 months, because remember, we have an 18-month time skip, and nobody's actually gone up to him and said, "Are you okay?"
No. Well, we don't see everything off screen. That's the issue. We have not seen these 18 months in between.
It's a massive issue.
It wants to pick up right where it left off, but there's been 18 months of this going on.
Well, I feel like there is certain points in shows where you can do a massive time skip like that, but you can't end a season on a cliffhanger and then do an 18-month time skip.
No.
Even a week time skip, I'd be like, oh, why have we done that? But 18 months between a cliffhanger and the start of a new season, it just doesn't make sense why they've done it.
No.
I really think they lost the plot.
Yeah, I wanted like everyone in Hawkins to be aware what was going on, basically, and it just basically being like a war between the right side up and the upside down, with everyone part of it. Like everyone knew what was going on at this point.
To be honest, I did quite like that. It was just a personal thing to them.
Yeah,
because it has been throughout all of the seasons. So I feel like we'd lose that personal attachment to the war of the upside down if everybody got involved.
Yeah, but make it more so that like the world outside of Hawkins don't know, but this town does. Maybe more like that.
I did like the Holly plot line. I thought that was really good. The actor for Holly was insanely good.
I liked what they did for Max's story. I think she had a lot to do.
I didn't, because when Max woke up from a coma and Elle didn't even give her a hug.
I know. There's that scene where she gets the TV taken off her and she has a paddy.
I know.
And she showed more emotion there than when she sees Max after 2 years.
Randomly, Will runs up to her and gives her a massive hug. And obviously they're friends.
Yeah.
But, like, they seem to be a lot closer than, you know, what's been let on in the previous seasons. And it's like, what's changed about them? And then, but Elle, who has many scenes with Max.
Yeah, she's so stone-faced.
There's a lot of character development between Elle and Max, and Max comes back from a coma after 2 years, and she's just like, "Hi, Max." Not even a high five for poor Max.
Hopper's alive, and Max sees him. I think they might even speak, but there's no, like, Hop, what are you doing here? I watched you die, mate. You know what I mean?
It's kind of right. It's like somebody told a general overview of what happened in Stranger Things and said, right, now write a season 5.
Yeah, there was a lot of loose threads.
Because a massive attention to detail has been put into the past seasons. You know, with the hairband that Hopper wears on his wrist.
Oh yeah.
And then gives to Elle. They did do an ode to that in this season. In this last episode. But like the attention to detail in the show has always been like astronomical. Like.
I did like how the epilogue had a lot of attention to detail from like earlier seasons. That's why I loved that last like 40 minutes. Where you got the updates, and it felt a bit more like, it felt peaceful. Like the town was back to how it must have been before season 1.
I wasn't a fan of where the older teens, you know, Nancy, and everyone was sat on top of the radio station. I didn't like that scene. It just
really.
I think what they were trying to do was explain what they're doing now.
My only question was, where was Vicky?
Where was Vicky?
And why did Nancy look like Timothy Chalamet with that trim?
She did look like Timothy Chalamet, to be fair.
Steve were looking good in that business suit.
It lost me a bit there as well, with because he is a teacher, but he's a physical education teacher. He's not going to be wearing a suit, is he? I think
he's a sex ed teacher.
No, he's not. He's a physical education teacher.
No, he said he does sex ed.
Yeah, because that's what PE teachers do.
Do they? I thought he was more of a coach.
Yeah, coach. That's what
he's a coach. He coaches.
Yeah.
And then he's a sex ed teacher alongside that.
Yeah.
I think is what it is. Yeah. I reckon Mr. Clark could have been a sex ed teacher with all the game he was getting over the course of the series.
Who did he get? He had one teacher in like.
In season 1.
Yeah, he did in season 1, and then was it the librarian?
Yeah.
Season?
He got Hopper's leftovers.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That happens in season 1, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't think it... The science teacher actually got a lot of game, all things considered. I felt like that was a bit random. I liked that the science teacher got involved because obviously he's been quite a supporting character throughout the...
He introduces the concept of the Upside Down, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He does. Well, obviously it's Elle who does it with the game board, but he's the one who answers the questions.
Yeah, Elle isn't the most descriptive.
No, she was not the most descriptive. She got the point across though. You can't fault her for that.
Yeah. If you were deaf, you might have understood. Actually,
Probably.
you'd have no advantage, really, now that I think about it. Yeah, Mr. Clark was the one that, like, verbally described it and introduced, like, what it actually was.
Yeah.
Or what he thought he was, because this new season sort of changed that perception.
I'm a bit confused as to why he was like... They were like, oh, by the way, this is the Upside Down. And he was like, okay.
I kind of forgot when he came back into it. He was just sort of there by a certain point.
Yeah, he definitely felt like a continuous character.
Yeah, because he disappeared. Like, you didn't see him in like... I think he had one scene in season 3, didn't he, with Joyce?
Yeah,
that was it. And season 4, nothing at all. And then season 5, I forget when they brought him back in. He just sort of came back.
It felt natural though. That felt like a natural part of the show.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like he shouldn't have been there. Which is shocking because a lot of season 5 was not natural at all.
I thought he might have died in a sort of like losing the mentor, and then one of them becomes Hawkins' science teacher.
There was not enough death in this last season.
Nowhere near.
Well, I mean, we lost Callie and that's it. Where's the excitement in
Both
that?
the Wheelers should have died, as in Karen and Ted.
I did like when Karen did the washing machine bomb.
You could have written around it though. She could have just been dead.
Yeah, agreed. Or she could have died in that moment.
Yeah, and Nancy and Jonathan should have died after that proposal scene.
Oh, that would have made the unproposal scene would have been so good if they died after.
I know.
The thing is, this isn't even anything against the characters because I love Nancy, but she should have died.
Yeah, it's not even something like, oh, this character's useless anymore. Like at this point, they should die because they're not. But you just feel like their story is coming to a close in that way.
I just felt like they hyped us up for a really upsetting season, and because what did they call it? A sad Christmas.
A dark Christmas.
A dark Christmas. The only
really
thing dark
wasn't.
was that my lights were off while I was watching it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I just think that they needed to scare us a bit more. Like for a horror show, you'd expect a lot of gore, and they had some blood and stuff. They had that one scene where that guy's eyes get poked out by the Demogorgon. Do you remember that in episode 4?
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with the main characters.
But no, you don't care about them. You don't care about who it was. If that had been a major character, that would have been the most horrifying scene in the whole series.
And where were the Demogorgons in all this?
Yeah, I was hoping for as much as I did like the finale, I was hoping for a bit more of a Battle of Hogwarts situation where it's every entity that's been introduced comes together.
I was not happy about the final fight. First of all, they entered this hive mind that looks like a massive giant spider thing, right? They enter it, and what does the floor look like? It looks like a flat floor with sand on it. And it kind of took me out of the immersion of, them being inside the hive mind.
I liked how the Abyss looked different to the Upside Down. Because we saw that in season 4 when Vecna had his flashback, didn't we? It was deserty looking.
Yeah, and I think it was meant to look different. But I didn't like how they just walked into the Upside Down like it was, they were going on a joy walk.
Yeah.
Hopper walked many, many miles with Elle bleeding out, and not one single Demogorgon comes from her.
Demogorgon. I think the Upside Down lost a little bit of its, aura.
Yeah, that's why I made you watch season 1, because you could, when they enter the Upside Down in season 1, 2, 3 and 4, you've got this dark, misty, foggy vibe, and everything, it's got really dark shadows, and it's got really scary sounds, and you just get goosebumps looking at it.
Yeah.
And then in this season, it didn't have the same vibe.
They were just chilling in there.
Yeah, they were.
I think it was more the characters' reactions to it, more than anything. They went in there and they weren't creeped out by it in any way. They were just kind of hanging out in the Upside Down. And nothing was coming after them or anything.
I would say, yeah. They're not, I'd understand them not being scared in the Upside Down, because obviously, it's not it's not something new to them anymore. They go there a lot, according to the show. But we as watchers should still feel scared.
Yeah, that's the thing. We need to feel scared, and we're just not anymore.
Because obviously they as characters get used to the Upside Down. We haven't watched Stranger Things or really been as interested in Stranger Things for like well over a year now, because it's been that long.
Yeah, fully.
And so we're still gonna be scared of the Upside Down, but I didn't feel anything when they were upside down.
No, I didn't feel any sort of dread. Really.
They could have been at the grocery store in Hawkins,
fully.
and I would have felt the exact same way.
Mm.
I just don't think they executed anything as good as they did in the previous seasons.
It was just not eerie enough. Like in the scene, when they drove that big truck in the Upside Down, when he's like, as soon as they got in, the like demidogs start chasing them and stuff, and like Nancy shoots at them and stuff, and like on the radio tower, we needed like a swarm of bats to appear and stuff.
They introduced all these different like characters, because obviously you start with the demogorgons, and then you have these demidogs, you have the bats.
Yeah.
And just where were they?
Yeah, they just got forgotten about. When I thought, like, if this is like the pinnacle, we need everything that's been introduced to get its moment.
Like when they took the kids from the military, and the Demogorgon like ripped through the van. That was such a cool scene,
sick,
and I don't see why we didn't see that in the Upside Down. Where the Demogorgon.
Yeah, we saw more from them in the real world than in the Upside Down, which feels a bit wrong.
And there was so much blood going on in the Upside Down. And obviously in past seasons we find out that the blood causes them to turn up. So Hopper's there bleeding out and has just shot like 15 soldiers, and not one Demogorgon comes out to say hello.
I know. I just don't think the Upside Down is what it was originally written as anymore. No. It was meant to be like a hellscape, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I was going to say this is a bad comparison, but it genuinely isn't. It's like if you went into Minecraft and just hung around in the Nether.
Well, yeah, but only as a kid when you're actually scared of the Nether.
Yeah, but like if you're playing it survival and stuff, you're going to get things coming after you and stuff. You can't just stay still in the Nether like they were in the Upside Down.
It's like they turned Minecraft from Minecraft hard mode to Minecraft peaceful mode.
Yeah, innit? It's like a peaceful mode Upside Down.
It was so strange. It just, because like in the first seasons, they're walking through, they've got this really, really dark, misty area that's got this red glow. You've got vines creeping up everywhere. You hear like loads of noises in the background of like demogorgons, and it's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Whereas they were just taking a pleasure stroll in the Upside Down like it was nobody's business.
Yeah, in season 1, when Joyce and Hopper first go in, you get the feeling it's like they're walking into a lion's cage, holding raw meat. That's how you're meant to feel.
Yeah.
And you can't just chill in the Upside Down. It wasn't written to work like that.
Well,
stuff would come after you.
They were more scared of the military in the Upside Down than there were these massive creatures with millions of teeth.
I know.
They're like, oh, Hopper, be quiet, the military's here. And it's like, what about the Demogorgons?
I know, how are the military just hanging about in there as well? How did they build a base in there without just getting attacked?
Because clearly we see that the military do not know how to fight these Demogorgons, because they still have guns when fire was clearly the thing that worked.
Yeah.
Although, actually, in this new episode that came out, I did see that Mike used like a water balloon full of like gas or something and threw it at the hive mind, and then set it on fire, and I thought that was really cool. But that's what the military should have been doing, and they weren't.
When do you think Stranger Things started going downhill, and do you think it was before season 5, or do you think season 4 was good?
I think season 4, I could see that they were running out of ideas, but I still think they had enough ideas for me to enjoy it. It felt like the same show, whereas this season 5 does not feel like the same show in any way, shape or form.
Do you think they could? Would you have wanted to see a season 6 if they could have fleshed it out more? Or do you think that would have been going too far, like overkill?
I think they either needed to wrap it up last season, or they needed 2 more seasons.
Maybe. Would it be like in season 5 we found out the Upside Downs, like a wormhole and stuff?
Well, like I said last week, because that's when the Christmas episodes came out, I just couldn't see how they were going to squeeze an epic battle and a 40-minute epilogue into 2 hours. Yeah. And I was right, they didn't. No. Like, the battle, it was okay, but it wasn't a 4-series build-up, was it? It was a...
Well, I think the thing is, we just had so much that didn't show up that had been introduced. It
Yeah.
it put everything onto Vecna when it should have been all the secondary and like stuff we've only
Vecna's
seen a
not
few
the only
times.
thing.
Like
Vecna
the
wasn't
bats and the
the only
dogs and the
villain.
Demogorgons and the Mind Flare.
Yeah.
Even like the particles and stuff and the vines and like it's an entire hive mind.
Yeah.
And they focused on one character the most, whereas I feel like when they were in the Upside Down, as they were going up that radio tower, like I said before, we needed like a swarm of bats coming after them and stuff like that.
That would have made Jonathan falling so much more dramatic.
Steve, you mean?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, and then Jonathan saved
I liked him saving him. I liked that bit.
I like that too.
That was one of the highlights.
Agreed.
It makes me wonder if Jonathan should have died. I feel like if they could have found a way to have done that before. Because they should have killed off Jonathan and Nancy. It felt like they should have died in that like goon room.
I just felt so underwhelmed when they lived.
But if they could have had, I know that's what I felt. It was a weird feeling, but I was like, I really thought they were gonna die now.
Well, when I finished this last episode, I felt so underwhelmed. I was like, well, you hyped us up for main character deaths. You hyped us up, for a massive, thing to happen, and nothing happened.
If they could have settled the Jonathan and Steve like rivalry at some point.
Yeah.
Say Jonathan saved Steve earlier in the season and then he died in episode 6. That would have been perfection.
Yeah. Well, I just see. Do you know the fight scene? I could see that fight scene working for maybe a 1-season show, 2-season show.
Yeah.
But we've waited 4 seasons for this big, massive fight. Technically 5 seasons for this huge fight, and it was just underwhelming. They didn't feel like there was any real risk to any of the characters.
We just needed more deaths. Nancy and Jonathan should be gone. Mr. and Mrs. Wheeler should have been gone. Yeah. Mike needed to be an orphan by the end of this season.
100%. And it's also like, they left so many things unsaid. Like, what happened to Vicky?
I know. I feel like she could have died as well. Or Robin.
She could have died. I thought Robin was going to die.
I kept thinking she was going to die.
I just didn't feel the tension of someone dying. It felt like there were two. I think what's happened is they've left it way too long, so they don't want to upset anyone who's watching.
Yeah.
So they're too scared to kill any main characters or to do anything big.
What is peak Stranger Things then? Do you think that's season 1 and 2?
Season 1 and 2 was peak Stranger Things.
I guess it was Stranger Things in its purest form.
But do you see what I mean by, like, if that big massive fight scene happened at the end of season 2, I think that would have been fine. But because we waited 5 seasons, the fight scene should have been so much better. Yeah. Way better. With Vecna, with Demogorgons, with Demibats, with
it should have had all of them, I agree.
Yeah. And there should have been a massive risk. Like, people barely even got a scratch on them.
Also, another thing not a lot of people mentioned. I haven't heard many people wondering this, so I'd be interested in anyone listening notice this. But where was Derek's family after they kidnapped him? Did they just never go and like help them?
His family doesn't even show up in the last scene when he's sat with Holly. His family's just gone.
I mean, I don't see why they would. To be fair, it's nothing to do with them. The graduation, like they don't have kids who are in there.
Yeah, but you'd probably want to go supervise your son, wouldn't you? At least.
But yeah, Derek was there. So where was his family?
They were just still in their barn by the looks of it.
Were they just still there?
Well, you'd have to think so because nobody went back for them.
No.
There was just so many things left with loose threads.
Where was Ted? For like episode.
I know we
2 to episode
Ted until he
8,
showed
until
up.
He showed up.
Episode.
Yeah. I think he should have just been dead.
I thought it was so odd that they just like forgot about Vicky.
I know.
And I did like the end where Mike was talking to Hopper and Hopper was helping him through grief.
Yeah, I liked that scene, yeah.
I wish there was more grief on Hopper's side because, throughout all of season 5 we've been hyped up about Hopper not wanting Elle to die and it being like the worst thing that could ever happen to him. And then she does die and he's just like...
Well, they explained it to Mike, didn't he? He said they were sort of like two sides of a coin. Mike was very outward and almost didn't believe it had happened, whereas Hopper just sat there. And he accepted it, but like... not gracefully, he just accepted it and he was miserable about it.
I understand that to an extent.
Mike shouldn't go down.
That's why I feel like I did think the 18-month skip was necessary to see them move on.
Yeah.
But I do also think we needed a tiny bit of extra time after Elle died to see how they reacted. Do you know when they were being detained by the army?
Yeah.
To see what happened. Because, you know, one moment they're being detained by the army and then it's, boom, 18 months later. It's like, okay, what happened? Did they just let them go?
Yeah, I did wonder what happened to Linda Hamilton, what's her name? Dr. Kate?
Yeah, that's
what happened to her?
She's just gone.
She just disappeared. There is a few loose threads. I liked the finale.
You say a few loose threads, but these
there
threads
is a lot
are
of
massive threads.
No, because I want to get it across. I enjoyed this season. Like, to all listening who have heard me complain for the last, what has it been, 40 minutes? I did like this season, but this one's been so negative and I can't help agreeing with her. But, like, it didn't ruin it for me.
If I'm being negative and you're agring with me, that probably says more about
I can accept the flaws, but I did like it.
Okay, what did you like?
I liked the endings to the characters. I can't think of many characters that didn't get a satisfactory ending. They put the time into deciding where these characters would be. So for a finale, I think it did that very well. I do think the battle in some ways was underwhelming. I will agree with that, but it didn't. I didn't sit there thinking, this is boring. Like I sat there thinking this is good. It could be better in this way, but I'm still enjoying it.
But if you're thinking something should be better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's probably a bad season, especially considering the absolute amazing past seasons we've had. And this being the finale, you shouldn't feel underwhelmed.
We needed more risks. I think that's the bottom line. There was just needed more shock value.
They hyped up this massive fight, and I swear nobody even got a bruise.
No one was seriously injured, were they?
No. And then the one major, well, I say major, the one death we really got was Callie. And let's be honest, obviously she kind of made up for it in the end, but who really cared about Callie?
Right, well, since we're getting far into it, I think anyone who has realised that this is full of spoilers has left, so we can talk about the big spoiler.
Which is?
The ending. Concerning Elle, what do we think happened?
Well, I really did not like that they went back and made this story that Elle might have survived and she might be happy in a village that she's found. Like, I get why it was there. It was to make Mike feel better. But also, like, we finally got a very, very main character death. And then they're still leaving it open-ended.
Do you not think it's good that it was divisive, though? That was the thing that I quite liked in the finales. You could go and talk to people and they might both believe different things. This is what sort of spurred me on. We probably wouldn't have made this podcast if there wasn't that discussion to be had of what we actually thought happened. Because that got us talking about it in the beginning, did it not?
Yeah, that is true.
And then we got talking and talking about it and we're like, okay, let's get the camera on this.
Well, I think it's just because nobody else died other than Callie. Leaving the only big death open-ended, it's just ruined all the excitement of it. You know, if we had got more main character deaths, you know, like Nancy died or Robin died, then we'd got that excitement, and then you can leave Elle's death open-ended, and then that will cause discussions. But the only main character death we got was left open-ended.
Yeah, I know.
Do you see what I mean? That it would have been better if somebody else had died, but they hadn't, so we got one main character death, left open-ended. I did like the end scene where they were playing Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm glad that none of the main kids died.
I'm glad too, but I think one of the older teenagers, Nancy, Jonathan, Steve...
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Any of them?
Actually, well, 11 allegedly died, so I guess one of them did, but... I'm glad that we didn't get Mike or Lucas or anything. 'Cause I liked seeing where they went. You know, like Mike became Stephen King.
Yeah, he did. Well,
the glasses and everything.
I didn't like Elle full stop this season. I feel like she'd been such a main character, not just in the fact that she has massive superpowers and can do loads of stuff, but also in the fact that, you know, she had a lot of character development. She went from this girl who couldn't speak, who could barely form opinions of her own, to being strong and independent, and she's got to go through a lot of character growth for that. And then in this season, she was just so bland. She was just...
They did well at humanising her in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then they backtracked on it a little bit, and in this new season, she's more like a vessel. rather than a person.
Exactly, and so I found it hard to sympathise when she was upset or be upset when she died.
Yeah, they gave her less feelings.
Yeah, the only reason I was upset was for Mike and Hopper, really. I didn't really care about Ellen. That's not how it should be for the main character of the entire series.
Yeah, I liked how they handled the, like, did she or didn't she, because it was clever.
It was clever. I did like it, but they left it way too open-ended.
I like that though. This is where we're gonna disagree.
Right. The thing is, I like it.
Yeah.
But it ruined any little slither of drama we got from this last season. Because I'll say it again. If somebody else had died, then we'd have the drama, and then we'd have this curiosity. What if Elle survived? But we'd also have that upset of these other characters. So we got one character to be upset about, and then they left it open-ended.
Kind of liked it though. I thought it was clever.
No, I do think it's clever.
Yeah, no, I just think like the way they wrote it in as well as like a last-minute discovery, like 18 months later.
Yeah, but what I mean is there was no excitement. I didn't feel excited, really.
I hope that they don't. I hope that they never put a definitive answer on it. Like this better be the end. This better be the full stop moment.
I don't think it will be. I think the way
I want it to be.
The way they set it up with Holly at the end with her friends.
Yeah.
And then when Mike goes and puts his folder back, after they finish playing D&D, the lights flicker.
Don't do this to me.
I'm telling you.
The Upside Down is gone.
You can rewatch it when Mike... I'll literally show you it later. God. When Mike puts his folder back, the lights flicker.
Well, the Upside Down's gone. They can't do anything with it.
I reckon they'll try to. I mean, they've already made so much money from it. Why wouldn't they?
I'd take a spin-off with completely different characters set in the same universe. If they try and do like... If they try and do like Stranger Things in the 90s or 2000s where they're like grown adults, I wouldn't even watch it.
Well, that's what I didn't like about this season as well, is that a lot of the plot heavily relied on a play that I didn't even know existed.
Oh, The First Shadow, yeah.
I didn't even know it was a thing.
Do you think it's just propaganda to go and watch it?
Well, yeah, but it's only available in London and New York. It's not like it's a huge, massive thing. And they didn't film it and release it on Netflix. So if you're going to tie something that's exclusive to 2 cities in the entire world, you can't tie that into the entire plot, and it definitely did, because there were so many points where I was so confused, and then I'd go on TikTok and it'd be like, oh, look at this reference to the play, and I was like, the play? What play? I didn't know about it at all.
Yeah. They just needed to tie more things up. Because I guess the play explains some stuff, but we still don't get the conclusion. We get the backstory, but it doesn't end.
And I feel like we had a lot of characters, like, unexplained feelings.
Yeah.
There wasn't really a resolution between Jonathan and Steve.
No.
Nancy never even, like, tied any of her loose ends up. Barb was barely mentioned in this season, and I feel like she should have...
They gloss over the fact Nancy lost her best friend.
Exactly, like, we have this massive thing about Dustin losing Eddie, and we have a massive thing about Max losing Billy. And then, Nancy's lost her best friend.
Yeah, you get a little bit in season 2, but it would be an overarching thing, wouldn't it? Like, season 3 onwards, she's forgotten about. She
completely is. And I think it's because, obviously, Barb dies, I think it's episode 2, maybe episode 3 of season 1, so we didn't... I think they thought we'd forget about her, and we didn't. We didn't.
No, that was the first, like, big campaign moment for it, wasn't it? A lot of people said, like, was it #Justice for Barb?
Yeah, because she didn't get anything.
Because, there was no funeral or anything in season 1.
We got a funeral for Will, and he didn't even actually die.
He didn't even die. Yeah.
Do you know what? That was one of my favourite... I've been rewatching it recently, and that was so good. When Joyce and when Joyce is acting a bit crazy, in quotation marks, because obviously she's right, and then we slowly see Hopper start to believe her. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was so
felt
good.
Natural as well.
And that's what season 5 is missing. It feels unnatural.
Yeah.
And the way they explain stuff in season 5, like in the previous seasons, if they discovered something, we'd see it through their actions. You know, we'd see them like sorting papers out or drawing it or something like this. And then in this season, if they discovered something out, they'd pick up like a water bottle and a record and they'd be like, this is the Upside Down and this is us and this is a wormhole. And it's like, I feel like there was so much cooler ways they could have told the audience that.
A bit more show, don't tell. Like the Hopper introduction scene we watched, that doesn't have a single word in it, but you see him smoke cigarettes, you see him drink.
Yeah.
You see him, like, not buttoning his trousers up and walking about the house. Like...
A mess.
A mess, yeah. And you make 100 different conclusions from it.
Exactly.
Without a single word.
He doesn't say anything and you can already tell stuff about his character. Whereas in this season 5, nothing was really up for interpretation until the last episode when Elle dies. Everything else, it was told to us point blank. Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
Well, they changed the style of writing after it got more popular. I don't think that's any secret. I think they'd say it themselves.
100%.
They almost sort of gave in a way to the sort of mob of fans that it has now.
But I don't think that was as obvious in the previous seasons than it is in this season.
It was obvious in season 3 when they made it much less dark and made it more of a friendly show.
Yeah, I agree.
So they knew it was something family were watching.
With how dark the first and second season was, I think it was like a breath of fresh air to have a lighter season 3, just to go straight back to darker season 4. I think season 3 was a massive setup for season 4.
I didn't too much like the Russian plotline and the fact that got forgotten about after a certain point.
You mean with Hopper?
No, in season 3 where the Russians have invaded Hawkins. I didn't find that as entertaining as like the
If I'm honest, I didn't even remember that.
You don't even remember?
No.
It says a lot.
Yeah.
It's quite a forgettable storyline, I think. And then Hopper, I liked it in season 4.
That seems like a massive storyline.
Yeah, they invade Hawkins in season 3.
What, and they just don't mention it ever again?
Well, the military come and shut it down in the end of season 3. But Hopper gets taken and he ends up in the Russian camp. And then that gets taken down. And then in season 5, it's almost like it didn't happen.
Well, I feel like the reason they had that plot line then is because they mention Russia so much to the military and everything else. They're always there like, oh, but what if the Russians find out? And then as an audience, you're watching and you're like, the Russians aren't tried out. So I guess they probably did that because they had to tie in the Russians somehow because they mentioned it so much.
Yeah.
You know, Elle was the little Russian girl in quotation marks because that is a genuine quote. And like the Russians never even showed up. So I think they only did that to make that make sense.
Maybe. I just think they needed to at least wrap it up in a way in season 5. Like Hopper would have some trauma, would he not?
I think the Hopper going to Russia and fighting in war arc, that was amazing.
It made you realise his full potential.
Yeah. But I don't think it would have made sense him in the future, you know, using these guns and being merciless. Merciless, that's the one. If he hadn't been through the arc. Because, you know, he's a big New York cop. But you don't use guns like that unless you've been through
It made you realise that he was more than just like a small town policeman and he actually knew how to defend himself in these kinds of situations.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was a really good plan. I think a lot of people didn't like it. They thought it was a bit off-piece, but I really liked it.
I liked it. I thought it was something interesting. I didn't like it so much when I was a bit younger.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to the more supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
But I like it more in hindsight, yeah, definitely.
And it's what season 5 is missing. Nothing makes sense in season 5.
Not enough grittiness. Like that Russia storyline, it was so like you saw Hopper like starved and tortured and stuff.
Yeah.
They just didn't have something. They didn't really have that in season 5.
No, they didn't. It was meant to be this big season that had so much drama and so much gore in a sense. And it was probably season 3 was probably worse for gore and better for excitement.
You think? Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right there. It did need something like that Russia subplot. I think had it been longer, we had time for a full other subplot in this show.
We had time for a whole other season with the stuff they need to wrap up. You think I'm joking? I genuinely think we needed this season to tell us about it being a wormhole and to explore the characters a little bit more. and introduce Callie back. And then another season where they actually do the fight, because this fight was so rushed. It felt like they didn't care. They just wanted it over with.
Do you think they should have made the epilogue a full episode?
100%, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have felt a bit weird.
Having it in the same episode, you didn't have that separation between what just happened and what is happening after, which I think you need for an epilogue, because you've gone straight from this big drama, Elle's just died, and then boom, we're 2 years later doing the same stuff.
I think maybe just make the final battle longer. Like, we would have watched a 2-hour battle in the Upside Down if they'd done it right.
Yeah, I would have happily watched a 3-hour episode if they would have made the battle longer.
Me too.
Like, no doubt about it. That's what I mean. They could have done like the epilogue as a whole other episode, and they had a lot to wrap up.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they introduced a lot in season 4 that was just not even mentioned in season 5.
Like the Russians.
Yeah.
That was not mentioned once. That Hopper spent about a year, maybe not a year, but a good chunk of a year tortured by Russians.
That was a massive plot, and we don't even hear about it in season 5.
It's almost it's the same as Will being in the Upside Down. You'd have that level of trauma.
You would, and obviously, like Will has trauma throughout the whole thing, understandably.
Yeah.
And Hopper's just like, yeah. Hopper's got a lot of trauma, obviously, from his daughter passing. And then he goes to a full war in Russia and is just okay.
Yeah.
And then Max doesn't even know that he's alive.
But she just accepts it.
She just accepts it.
I thought that was one of the main flaws. Was I was just like, could they not have given us 30 seconds to introduce the fact that Hopper's alive?
I think it would have been good for us as an audience too to have like a little debrief, ourselves as to what's happened in the past seasons, because obviously it's been a while since these past seasons have come out. So Lucas debriefing to Max would have been a good way to tie that in, and they just didn't bother. That would have been good. I agree. Just didn't bother at all. No, I definitely think there was so much that could have been improved on this season 5, and I feel like a lot of fans are going to be being left disappointed with how it was dealt with and how it was written. Well,
in what I'd almost say is a conclusion, as we've been going nearly an hour now.
Yeah.
I think I need to watch the full series again when I have the time. I need to watch season 5 as a piece of a jigsaw rather than just its own thing.
Watching it as its own thing, you can kind of accept it as is, but once you put it all together, because that's what I did. I started rewatching it, and once you put it all together, season 5 just stands out like a sore thumb in plot.
Yeah, because I enjoyed it myself. I was having a good time with it, but I hadn't seen the other seasons in a good while, like a year maybe, since I'd seen older episodes. So it wasn't like I was watching them consecutively. Maybe if I did that, then I might have a different opinion.
You won't be blinded by nostalgia if you see how good the other seasons are.
Maybe on Stranger Things Day we follow it up and say, was season 5 really that bad?
I think we should. I think once we've rewatched it, we should come back to this topic and update our opinion. Because do you know what? Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe. I don't think you'll want to admit it though. You won't admit it if you are.
I will happily admit it if I'm wrong. I just know I'm not on this because it was bad. It was objectively bad. I'm
going to watch it with my girlfriend as well and see what she says. We'll get a third opinion in there.
100%. We do need a third opinion on this one. So it's definitely a topic we'll have to come back to in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after we've let it settle more. Because obviously we've given it less than a day now.
It's been less than a day.
So once we've let it settle, we can come back to this. And maybe we'll have different opinions.
Yeah. Because my opinions on Stranger Things are always changing. Season 3 used to be my favourite.
I don't think season 3 was as bad as people say, but we probably shouldn't get into it now.
No.
Because we've got a run time of an hour now, and there's not even much we can edit out.
No. Well, I don't think there was any filler there. I think we got everything we needed to talk about pretty much.
We definitely did.
Everything off the agenda. I can't really think of anything else.
But if any listener has anything else you think we should talk about, feel free to let us know, because we can talk ears off.
We're proper yappers.
We are
Any
yappers.
Subject.
If you've made it this far, you have realised
how thank you so much. Thanks for putting up with us.
Absolutely. So we're hoping to do more things like this in the future, about mainly, trending topics, but also topics of our own that we find interesting or feel like we could talk about for a while. So if you think of anything you want us to talk about, we can take a look into it. But you might get a random episode here and there of just our interests and what we think we can talk about.
We go from thing to thing, definitely.
We definitely do.
We've just come out of a big Harry Potter phase as well, going up to London, seeing all that.
We've come out of a Harry Potter phase. I'm still in mine.
I'll be going back into it for a while. In a while. Like, after Stranger Things fever wears off, I'll probably just get back into it. I'll start reading.
Don't worry, guys. There will be an episode on Harry Potter.
Multiple, if we can.
Oh, we've got to do one for every book and every movie.
Is that...
That's 8. That's 8.
That's 15 episodes just dedicated to Harry Potter.
No. We can do...
That's not enough.
That's not enough.
No,
that is not enough for how much we can talk. We will have a One Direction episode. I'll try and convince.
I think that'll be predominantly you talking there, but I can put my 2 cents in there.
Yeah, that will be predominantly me talking.
Anyway, we're gonna love you and leave you for this first.
We are. Thank you
episode.
for listening to our first.
If you've made it this far, I can only commend you. Thank you so much.
Yep, I hope you enjoyed listening to Brie and Tea with Connor and Amelia. Thank you for listening to our yapping.
And we'll see you soon.
Have a good one.